I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better!
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, and this is everything you need to know before watching Season 4 of The Boys. We are going to recap the entire series, beginning in 1939, when a Nazi scientist named Frederick Vought creates a drug called Compound V, which gives people superpowers.
In 1939, Hitler appointed him chief physician at Dachau.
Vought used Compound V on his wife, Clara Ringsinger, who would eventually become known as Stormfront, and she becomes a literal soup Nazi. Vought and his wife defected to the United States, and Vought was pardoned in exchange for the creation of super soldiers, such as Soldier Boy. Now, Soldier Boy was America's first soup and led a team called Payback. Soldier Boy's public record is that he died saving the world from a nuclear meltdown, but it was actually his team who betrayed him for being a little aggressive.
I see you getting out of line again. Trying to move on up, I will put you in the f***ing ground. Understood?
He was then sold to the Russians and experimented on for decades. And to celebrate Soldier Boy's role in defending American consumerism, we've got this brand new Soldier Boy parody shirt where he calls Hitler a disappointment, in a parody of Captain America issue 1. Now, we have other parody covers like this first appearance of the Punisher. Guys, shopping our merch store is the best way to directly support our channel, and right now we have a special sale on all Boys parody merch. 10% off through June 14th. The links for those are below. Thank you guys for supporting our channel and for supporting capitalism. Now, in the 1950s, Clara goes by the superhero named Liberty, and one night she stopped the car of an African-American man and killed him just because he was black. Now, the man's sister was in the back seat and witnessed the whole thing, but Vought paid off the family to keep it secret.
A little black girl accusing a white superhero of murder in these parts?
So Vought forms a company named after himself, and their primary product is to create and market superheroes as a business. After Vaught's death, Stan Edgar takes over as CEO and helps lead the cover-up of Compound V. The public is then led to believe that soups are the result of divine intervention, God's little miracles. Now, in the 1980s, Grace Mallory was working with the government and had run-ins with Stan Edgar, Black Noir, and Soldier Boy. After her bad experience working with soup, she forms a task force focused on bringing down Vought and ending the tyranny of these soups. Now, modern-day Vought, though, has turned superheroes into a for-profit mega corporation where soups are celebrities with TV shows, movies, action figures, video games, and record labels. The Seven is Vaught's #1 hero team, and they are led by Homelander. Now, Homelander was raised in a lab and made into one of the most powerful soups of all time. But without a mother and proper upbringing, he became a sociopathic madman.
You people should be thanking Christ that I am who and what I am because you need me.
His lack of a mother figure results in him having an unhealthy obsession with his boss, Madeline Stillwell. I am so excited the boys are back on because this show is unlike any other superhero story we're getting today. Because this show uses a fantastical premise, superheroes actually exist, and it uses that premise to create a commentary on the real world events of today. Like, this show is a shocking political satire. They've turned Homelander and his followers into a metaphor for extreme right-wing fans, even inserting a familiar looking guy into Homelander's rally in season 3. But they've also taken shots at Hollywood elites with their tone-deaf reactions to real world suffering, with spoofs of Imagine and the Kardashian Pepsi spot. But the boys' greatest target is us. We are all guilty of having our own political bias that dictates our views, and we all have an algorithm that caters news to what we already think. But if you want to cut through all that AI confirmation bias and get the real news, you should check out Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that gathers related articles from across the world into one place. But they give you the context about the source's political leaning, their reliability, and their ownership. This means that you can see through the political and profit bias and think critically about this news that you consume. That's why I'm proud to have Ground News as a sponsor for this video. I mean, think about all the absolutely crazy, bonkers, history-making events happening right now, like Donald Trump's conviction. Ground News has a story here about the former president potentially being placed under house arrest. And here I can see who reported the story, which way they lean politically, the factuality, and whether or not the news came from independent ownership. And that last part's very important. Left-leaning sites focus on how he said it could be a breaking point for his supporters and incite violence, while right-leaning sites use the headline that he's okay with it. The story had 56 total sources, with 16 leaning left, 12 right, and 7 center. Now, especially with the election coming up, I want to be informed, and I want to know that the news isn't trying to sway me one way or the other. They even have a blind spot section that shows you news stories that each side is ignoring. And by the way, this is all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. Guys, this is an incredible resource, and I have been looking for a service like Ground News News for years. I highly encourage you to check them out. If you go to groundnews.com/ScreenCrush or click this QR code, you'll get 40% off their Vantage plan, which includes unlimited access to every feature. Or you can try their Pro plan for less than $1 a month, totally worth it. Your subscription will not only help our channel, but you'll also be supporting an independent platform working to make the media landscape more transparent. Now back to the boys. Now, in the late 2000s, a hard-ass named Billy Butcher was married to a woman named Becca who worked at Vought in the marketing department. Homelander took advantage of Becca, and by the time the show starts, she's been believed dead or missing for the past 8 years. But Butcher has kept the faith that she is still alive. Now, it does turn out, though, that after Homelander took advantage of Becca, she became pregnant with his son. Vought covered it up and sequestered her and the baby away from Homelander so that the boy could be raised by his mother and be a better version of Homelander. Now, in 2012, Grace Mallory recruited Billy Butcher and showed him the evidence that Homelander assaulted his wife Becca and that Vought was responsible for Becca's disappearance. So Butcher and Mallory form a group called the Boys, composed of Mallory, Butcher, Frenchie, and Mother's Milk.
That's a nickname?
No, my mother actually named me Mother's Milk.
Frenchie was recruited by Grace Mallory for his impressive ability to create weapons that could take on Supes. And as we'll later learn, Mother's Milk's family was killed by Soldier Boy's recklessness, and this is why MM has joined the fight against the Supes. Early in 2012, a former member of the Seven, Lamplighter, was blackmailed by the Boys into being a spy.
Please don't pretend like you have a choice. I'll look forward to your call.
Having had enough, Lamplighter went to Mallory's house to kill her, but ended up burning her grandchildren alive. After the death of her grandchildren, Mallory disbanded the Boys, but now, 5 years later, Butcher has started reassembling the team, starting with Frenchie. But Vought is an international megacorporation who owns the world's premier superhero team, the Seven. Other members of the team include Queen Maeve, she's a lot like Wonder Woman. There's the Deep, who's a super creepy Aquaman.
Go f another fish, asshole!
A-Train, a full-of-himself speedster, translucent, he can turn invisible, and Black Noir, he's kind of like Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe.
Movie Insurrection. It's really exciting. It's my first movie with in the Vought cinematic universe.
And then there's the new girl, Annie January, aka Starlight. Now, as a child, she participated in soup, song, and dance pageants primarily because her mother forced her to.
Pain is weakness leaving the body.
Now, Annie believes that superheroes are actual crime fighters until her first day on the job when she joins the Seven, when she is sexually assaulted by the Deep.
You and me, just roll with the punches for like 3 minutes, maybe. It's not a big deal.
Meanwhile, Huey Campbell and his girlfriend Robin are standing on a New York City sidewalk gazing into one another's eyes when, out of nowhere, Robin explodes. A-Train ran straight through her, leaving her severed arms in Huey's hands. You see, A-Train was actually whacked out on Compound V that he was abusing to increase his speed. So Vought covers for A-Train and helps him promote the lie that Robin was standing in the middle of the street and that A-Train was in the midst of chasing bank robbers, and they offer Huey $45,000 to sign an NDA. A distraught and defeated Huey is approached by a man called Billy Butcher who offers him a shot at revenge.
I'm offering you the opportunity to get them that got your girl.
Butcher tells the naive Huey all the awful things about Vought and the Supes.
Supes lose hundreds of people each year to collateral damage.
So, Butcher convinces Huey to visit Vought Tower for an apology, and then he can plant a bug for Butcher in the Seven's conference room. Huey goes through with the plan, but Translucent sees Huey plant the bug. Afterwards, Huey impresses Butcher by ripping up a check for $45 grand. But Butcher still doesn't want Huey to be on his team. But then later that night, Translucent walks into the electronics store and attacks Huey. But then, Butcher drives his car through the store. Butcher and Translucent go toe-to-toe in one of my favorite fights from the entire series. It's not as big and flashy as some later fights, but it's gritty and grounded like the Boys is supposed to be. Now, when Butcher is down, Huey sneaks in from behind and sticks an electric cable inside of Translucent.
Skin's carbon, highly conductive. Saw it on Jimmy Fallon.
Then they go to Frenchie's and place him in an electric cage because his invincible skin is making him very hard to kill. Now, the clock is ticking though as Homelander closes in on their location, and Frenchie devises a plan to place an explosive inside Translucent.
You stuck a lump of plastique up your bum, son.
Translucent escapes his cage and Huey is forced to detonate the explosive. And it was at this moment that Huey crossed the line and became one of the Boys. His hands are no longer clean. Now, around this time, Huey and Starlight coincidentally meet on a park bench and they really hit it off. And later, he gets her number.
I know you're you and everything, but if you ever just wanted to, get...
Would you like my number?
Butcher then recruits Mother's Milk back into the team.
Hey, man, you're the only bloke I can trust.
Since when have you ever trusted anybody?
The team investigates Popclaw, a D-list soup and A-Train's secret girlfriend who gets high on Compound V and then murders her landlord during sex. Now the boys have all this on video and then they blackmail her in exchange for info on A-Train and Compound V. A-Train later finds out that Popclaw snitched and he kills her, faking an overdose. Following the lead they got from Popclaw though, the boys find Kimiko.
You're not a bad person. Just a scared one.
Now, Kimiko is mute and she has a dark past. She was forced to join a terrorist organization called the Shining Light Liberation Army. She was injected with Compound V against her will, giving her super strength and a healing factor. Meanwhile, Vought is working to get Soups into the US military. To prove their worth, Stillwell sends Homelander and Maeve to rescue a plane that's been hijacked by terrorists.
If you bring those passengers back alive, not one congressman will have the balls to vote against our bill.
Once they arrive, Homelander and Maeve take out the terrorists pretty easily, but then Homelander uses his laser vision to take down the final terrorist and in the process destroys the plane's controls. Maeve pleads with Homelander to get under the plane Superman style and help it land.
Lift the plane? How? There's nothing to stand on.
Maeve then asks him to take multiple trips, taking people to safety.
Come back 123 times?
And then she begs him to at least take these 2 little girls.
So they can tell the world that we left the rest of them to die?
Homelander refuses to save anyone and insists that Maeve come with him. They leave the plane to crash into the ocean, but Homelander spins the disaster to persuade the government to let them in the military. Starlight is then sent to the Belief Expo. Now, the Belief Expo is an extremist gathering promoting Christian values from a far-right political perspective. Homelander goes off the book at the expo and gives a speech to appeal to his right-wing base.
Wasn't I chosen to save you?
While Starlight also abandons her speech and goes rogue and reveals to the world that she was assaulted. Now, Stillwell recognizes this as bad PR and forces the Deep to issue a public apology and then is sent on a sabbatical in Ohio. Butcher has a contact in the CIA named Susan Rayner who wants to help keep Soups out of the military, but then it's revealed that there is a Soup terrorist on foreign soil.
Are you telling me they have a Soup terrorist?
Homelander distributed Compound V to Middle East terrorist organizations so that they could create their own Soups. And now the military has no choice but to allow Soups like Homelander into the military.
Why don't you, go have a smoke or something, okay? I got this.
Homelander discovers the identity of the boys and he believes that Starlight has been helping them. But then Starlight, with the help of Maeve, convinces Homelander that she is innocent. So Starlight confronts Huey about these new revelations and Huey tells her about Compound V.
We're born like this.
I'm so sorry.
Starlight eventually joins the boys in their efforts against Vought. Now, during a fight with A-Train, he has a heart attack, but then the heroes save his life.
He'll never stop coming for you.
I know.
Homelander finds out that he got Becca pregnant, but is told that she and the baby died.
Drowned in its mother's blood.
Butcher kidnaps Stillwell and plans to blow her up in front of Homelander to make him feel the same pain that he has carried for all these years. But Homelander confronts Stillwell about her lies and kills her himself. Butcher detonates the explosive but wakes up in a yard with Homelander standing over him.
Wakey, wakey.
Out of a house walks Becca and her son, Ryan.
We are a family.
Butcher is framed for the death of Madeline Stillwell, and all of the boys, including MM, Frenchie, Huey, and Kimiko, are wanted fugitives living in a pawn shop basement. Despite Starlight's public face of being a valued member of the Seven, she is still secretly seeing Huey and very wary of Homelander and Vought. Vought CEO Stan Edgar is displeased with Homelander for unleashing Compound V into the world, and shows Homelander that he does not fear him in the slightest.
While you're preening at the Golden Globes, we are busy running around like maniacs trying to clean up the mess you made.
Stormfront is then brought in by Edgar to fill the empty seat left by Translucent.
I'm in the Seven. Replacing Translucent. God bless his soul.
Now at this time, Stormfront is relatively unknown outside of the coastal Northwest, and no one knows about her past as Liberty or as a Soup Nazi.
Who are you calling a Nazi?
The boys offer to bring in a super terrorist in exchange for full pardons.
I will see what I can do.
But during their meeting with Rayner, her head explodes.
Wait, so what happened to Butcher and Ryan and stuff?
Oh yeah, so Homelander was about to kill Butcher, but then Becca threatened to kill herself in front of her son.
I said if he hurt you, I would kill myself in front of Ryan. And my last words would be, your father did this to me.
So Homelander dropped Butcher miles away in exchange for a relationship with his boy. But now Butcher knows that Becca is alive and he is determined to get her back. He breaks into her compound, but she won't leave without Ryan.
Oh, no. Ryan can't climb that fence.
Now Annie has been working behind the scenes to get a sample of Compound V that she can reveal to the general public. A-Train catches Annie and is going to rat her out, but then Annie reminds him that she knows that he killed Popclaw.
You know, say if Sports Illustrated found out.
Now the Deep is in the midst of a breakdown and scaring kids at local water parks, and then in steps the Church of a Collective, a cult-like organization who says that they can get the Deep back on the 7, but only for a price. So the boys then bring in this soup terrorist, who is actually the long-lost brother of Kimiko.
Her brother.
But then Vought sends the Deep and the rest of the 7 to stop them. Butcher smashes this boat through a whale, and then they escape into the storm drains pursued by the 7. So Starlight then is forced to blast Huey even though they're dating because she knows that Homelander is watching.
Hands in the air, like you just don't care. Kill.
But then Kimiko's brother, Kenji, drops a bus on Homelander from above ground, and then Kenji is brutally murdered by Stormfront. Homelander is pissed that Stormfront took his kill, but Vought is still happy to take credit for one of their soups taking down a soup terrorist. But then a video leaks of Homelander accidentally killing a civilian, leading to protests led by liberal firebrand Congresswoman Victoria Newman. Homelander crashes the protest to talk his way back into the crowd's good graces, but instead he fantasizes about doing this. So he then turns to Stormfront for help repairing his image by using memes and social media bots. They get their supervillain nasty on, and boy is it nasty.
Don't stop.
Around this time, Homelander outs Maeve as a lesbian to the press, even though she's bisexual, and Vought decides that this should be her new rebranding.
She's #Brave Maeve.
A-Train goes to the Church of the Collective to try to steal files on Stormfront, and then he delivers this file to Starlight and Huey because Stormfront is actually a full-blown racist and he wants her off the team.
That place used to be pure, and then they just started letting all kinds of people in.
The file contains proof that she's actually a full-blown Nazi. Starlight finds out Stormfront has been overseeing a facility where they test Compound V on adults instead of babies. And working at this facility is none other than the retired 7 member, Lamplighter. When the boys are breaking into this facility and encounter Lamplighter, a super powerful soup named Cindy is released.
Hey, Cindy. Let's be cool.
I'm sure we'll see her this season. But Lamplighter agrees to help the boys by testifying against Vought. Black Noir captures Starlight as Vought and the 7 label her a traitor on the news. So Lamplighter takes the boys to her holding cell in 7 Tower, but then sets himself on fire. Now, this sets off alarms that Starlight uses then to break her out from her cell. Black Noir and Starlight go at it, and Maeve steps in to help.
Was that an almond joy? He has a tree nut allergy.
But now, with Lamplighter gone, they have lost their star witness, but Butcher has someone better in mind. Vought's chief scientist, Vogelbaum, Homelander's creator.
The chair calls former CSO of Vought, Dr. Jonah Vogelbaum.
But right as he's about to testify, heads start exploding. After this attack, the US government decided to purchase a lot of Compound V so they can create super soldiers, while Homelander decides that it's time for Stormfront to meet his son. After they tell him his whole life has been a lie, Ryan decides to go with his dad and his soup Nazi mom. Becca breaks out of the Vought compound and goes to find Butcher, who promises to help. Now the boys set up a sonar beacon that draws Homelander away from this cabin so that Butcher and Becca can nab Ryan. Meanwhile, Stormfront's Nazi photos have been released to the public. So Butcher confesses to Becca the deal that he made with Stan Edgar to return Ryan to Vought in exchange for Becca's freedom.
I cut a deal that when I got Ryan, that I would call Vought, they were going to come and take him away, and that you'd never can see him again.
As they're leaving, Stormfront comes in to kill Starlight for leaking the Nazi photo.
People love what I have to say. They just don't like the word Nazi.
So Starlight and Kimiko go toe-to-toe with Stormfront, and then Queen Maeve arrives to help finish the job.
Girls do get it done.
Stormfront, though, escapes and catches up to Butcher, Becca, and Ryan. Stormfront begins to choke Becca, and Ryan lets out a laser blast from his eyes, completely frying Stormfront. All season long, Homelander wanted Ryan to tap into his powers, and Stormfront's threatening of his mother finally made those powers surface. But Stormfront wasn't the only victim of this blast. Becca's throat was hit by the laser too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Help us!
When Homelander tells Ryan to come with him, Ryan steps behind Butcher. So now Homelander's about to kill Butcher, but then Maeve steps in and reveals the video of Flight 37.
Let them go. You're gonna stop hunting Starlight, or I release this.
Maeve tells Homelander to let Butcher and Ryan leave and to stop messing with her and Starlight. Compound V's release is then put on hold. The boys get secret government funding after Mallory's reinstatement, and Mallory takes in Ryan so that he can be hidden away from Vought and Homelander. Afterwards, Huey gets a job with Congresswoman Newman, but it turns out she was the head popper. So, a year has passed and things have been relatively calm. Huey is working at the Bureau of Superhuman Affairs under the direction of Congresswoman Newman. Butcher is still leading the boys, and they now have a comic-accurate office in the Flatiron Building. MM has retired from the team to focus on raising his daughter, but his relationship with his wife is over. And now she's dating this guy who is kind of a jerk and a big fan of soups.
Are you gonna stay for Homelander's birthday special? Got some brats on the grill?
Butcher still has Frenchie and Kimiko at his side, but he isn't thrilled about the dialed-back nature of their soup takedowns. He's even become a bit of a father figure for his late wife's son, Ryan.
You done your homework?
I hate math.
Yeah, you and me both.
Starlight is made co-captain of the Seven by Stan Edgar, poking the bear that is Homelander. Huey finds out that Newman is the head pauper and that she was raised in a soup orphanage and then adopted by none other than Stan Edgar. This makes Huey realize that fighting Vought through the system was never going to work out and that they're going to have to do things Butcher's way. Homelander is on an apology tour for dating Stormfront.
I may be a superhero, but I'm also just a man who fell in love with the wrong woman.
Now Stormfront is still alive, but she's not all there in the head. She mutters Nazi talking points and gives Homelander handy-dandies. But when she dies on his birthday, he finally hits his breaking point on live television. Now his base loved his speech, and Homelander is now emboldened to go further down his evil rabbit hole.
I don't make mistakes. I'm not just like the rest of you. I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm better. I am better!
Homelander tells Starlight that he isn't afraid of that video being leaked anymore, because if it does, he'll just take over the world.
I'd prefer to be loved, but if you take that away from me, being feared is A1 okie doke by me.
Maeve brings Butcher classified documents on America's first soup, Soldier Boy, explaining that whatever killed Soldier Boy could also maybe kill Homelander. Maeve also gives Butcher 3 doses of a new version of Compound V that makes you a soup for 24 hours.
It's Temp V. One shot makes you a soup for 24 hours.
Butcher takes the Compound V and gets the powers of Homelander. He interrogates an old colleague of Soldier Boy's and then kills him because the Compound V is affecting Butcher's personality and making him less patient and more cruel.
You said you'd always watch out for me. You promised.
Ryan, let go.
Oh, and Huey also took some of this V and now has teleporting powers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mallory tells Butcher that Soldier Boy died at the hands of a top-secret Russian superweapon in the 1980s. So the boys make their way to the Russian science lab that supposedly holds the secret to killing a soup. But instead, they find out that Soldier Boy is still alive. Homelander gets the Deep back on the Seven, not because he likes him, but because it's a good way to mess with Starlight. He even makes Deep eat a live octopus just to screw with his head.
I'm so sorry.
Starlight's old boyfriend and new member of the Seven, Supersonic, helps Starlight plot against Homelander, and then Homelander just kills him, just like he warned Starlight he would do.
He's threatened to murder me more than once, and you're just going to be putting yourself and your family in danger.
Edgar is displeased with Homelander's recklessness and asks Newman to open an investigation into him, but instead she opens an investigation into Edgar himself. Now it turns out that Newman made a special secret deal with Homelander in exchange for Compound V to give to her daughter. Edgar is pushed out of Vought and Homelander is now in charge.
And in the coming days, the FBSA will be investigating charges of blackmail, perjury, and obstruction of justice against Mr. Edgar.
Homelander realizes this day-to-day corporation running isn't really for him, so he names Ashley as Vault's new CEO. After escaping the Russian lab, Soldier Boy makes his way back to American soil. Now Butcher tells Soldier Boy that he'll help him hunt down his old teammates if, in exchange, Soldier Boy kills Homelander.
All we ask is that you add one more name to the list.
Who?
Homelander.
Soldier Boy and Homelander go at it, and then Butcher steps in with his new powers to help.
What have you done?
Scorched earth.
Huey pops in too, and the three of them pin Homelander down and almost kill him, but then Homelander is able to escape and flies away. Starlight decides to handle this war in a different way and exposes Vought, Soups, and Homelander to the world.
Now, Homelander and Vought are going to tell you that it was the supervillain and that they have it handled. They don't.
And then it's revealed that Homelander is actually Soldier Boy's son because he was made using Soldier Boy's DNA.
Turns out, Vogelbaum made a kid, born spring 1981.
Starlight learns that more than 3 to 5 doses of that temporary Compound V that Butcher and Huey have been taking will be lethal. Butcher, though, keeps taking the V, but he won't allow Huey to inject himself anymore. Homelander learns that one of his only friends, Black Noir, knew that Soldier Boy was Homelander's father, but he never told him. So Homelander sheds some tears and kills Black Noir. Butcher, in a fit of rage, tells Ryan that he blames him for killing his wife.
Well, maybe I don't want to look at you after what you've done to my Becca. Did you ever think about that?
So, when Homelander finds Ryan, Ryan goes with him willingly. Cue the final battle. Homelander pours his heart out to Soldier Boy. He brings out Ryan and tells Soldier Boy that he's his grandson. But then, Soldier Boy does this.
You're a disappointment.
and the two go at it again. Ryan lasers Soldier Boy to help his dad, and now Soldier Boy is going after Ryan. Butcher steps in to protect him because deep down he loves Ryan like he's his own son. While Butcher and Soldier Boy go at it, Queen Maeve and Homelander begin to fight. Soldier Boy is about to go nuclear, but just before he can, Maeve tackles him out of the window. Ryan leaves with Homelander, Maeve is alive but without her powers, and Starlight officially leaves the Seven and joins the boys. And while Butcher is still alive, he is now slowly dying from his overuse of Compound V.
How long ago?
Months, 12, 18 on the outside.
Newman is now running for VP alongside Dakota Bob after Homelander and the Deep assassinated his former running mate in exchange for Ryan's location. Homelander has now developed a cult-like fan base. When a protester throws a cup at Homelander that accidentally hits Ryan, he responds by lasering the guy to death in public. But old Todd begins to cheer him on, and then the whole crowd joins in. So, now let's talk about the show Gen V. You see, many Supes that were on the Seven went to a school called Godolphin University, or God-U for short.
Who have all gone on to protect America's greatest cities.
Marie Moreau, who we actually saw here in The Boys Season 3, has blood manipulation powers and accidentally killed her family when she was a young girl.
Marie, what the hell happened?
She grows up in the same orphanage as Victoria Newman before she was adopted by Stan Edgar, and coincidentally, Marie and Newman have the same blood manipulation powers.
Your blood, there's Compound V in it. You're a Supe.
Marie is now attending Godolphin University and wants to be an actual superhero. Now, unlike most Supes, she does not want to become a performer. She wants to actually help people and join the Seven. After some chaos on campus involving a Human Torch-style hero, Golden Boy, Marie and her friends are dubbed the Guardians of Godolphin.
Like Marie Moreau, the Guardian of Godolphin.
Now, it turns out, though, that Vought is still up to no good, and in the basement of the university, Vought is experimenting on students. Vought is looking to create a virus that can take away powers from Supes that, get out of control. But the creator of that virus secretly wants to use it to kill all Supes because her family was on the infamous Flight 37. The young Supes who were being experimented on go on a rampage against humans at the university, and Marie steps in to stop them, and it is just a bloody mess. But then, in comes Homelander, who is displeased with Marie.
Do you like attacking your own kind?
He lasers her, but she survives and wakes up in a hospital, and Homelander has made her out to be the villain.
4 Godolphin students went on a brutal murder spree.
And now comes the next installment of the Boys saga, The Boys Season 4, which we'll be covering right here on the channel week by week with Easter egg breakdowns of every single episode. So let me know, what's your favorite episode of The Boys? Who's your favorite hero? What do you think is going to happen this season? Big shout out to the writer of this video, Colton Ogburn. You can find his social links below. And guys, if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.